The Senate will please come to order. We'll begin this morning with a moment of silence. Thank you. Are there any announcements this morning? Seeing none, hearing none, this brings us right into the orders of the day. We have on the calendar for third reading H431. Third reading was ordered on May 18th, 2021. Are there any amendments before third reading? Please listen to the third reading of H431.
H431, an act relating to miscellaneous energy subject.
The question now is, shall the bill pass in concurrence? Are you ready for the question? The senator from Chittenden is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. The senator from Washington, Senator Perchlik, brought us a potential amendment that sparked a good conversation, and this had to do with whether or not we would consider fossil fuel infrastructure as potential energy storage. In the end, I gather he's not offering his amendment because it was not universally supported by all the folks in this coalition that support this bill. But it was a good conversation. I wanted senators to realize the definition here has to do with what kind of entity, energy storage, needs a certificate of public good. So while we were not able to say with 100% certainty that there would be no fossil fuel storage that would come under here, the entire setup just brings them under the requirement for a CPG. I think it's fair to say we're at the leading edge in terms of states that are getting a structure around storage to the benefit of renewable energy and developers and our grid. And this will be definitely an ongoing conversation. I appreciate the senator bringing this to our attention, and I look forward to maybe digging in a little bit more next year when we have time and we can get the department and others to really help us think it through. For now, though, I think senators can be confident that we don't believe there's any fossil fuel storage system in the pipeline or in the works, I should say. And even if it were, and even if it qualified under here, this just demands that they get a CPG, so a certificate of public good. So I don't think we're accidentally making this easier for them. Far from it. Also, I should say fossil fuel infrastructure of all kinds is well regulated and elsewhere in statute. Appreciate everybody's time and thank the senator from Washington again for helping us dig through this important topic.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the bill pass in concurrence? Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've passed H431 in concurrence. We have on the calendar for action H289, read for the first time on March 12th, 2021. It was referred to the Committee on Government Operations, which reports it has considered the bill and recommends that the bill be amended as set forth on pages 2392 to 2397 of today's calendar, and that when so amended, the bill to pass. The bill was then referred to the Committee on Finance, which reports it has considered the bill and recommends that the bill be amended as set forth on pages 2397 to 2408 of today's calendar, and that when so amended, the bill to pass. And finally, the bill was then referred to the Committee on Appropriations, which reports it has considered the bill and recommends that the bill be amended as recommended by the Committee on Government Operations and the Committee on Finance, and that when so amended, the bill to pass. Please listen to the second reading of H289.
H289. An act relating to professions and occupations regulated by the Office of Professional Regulation.
The senator from Windsor, Senator Clarkson, is recognized for the report of the Committee on Government Operations.
Thank you, Madam President. H289 is this year's OPR, Office of Professional Regulation, annual housekeeping bill. It updates outdated language, clarifies a number of issues, and further regulates a sport OPR under-regulates. Just as a reminder for those of you who are new to OPR, OPR is a division of the Secretary of State's office, and its mission is public protection through the regulation of professions or other activities which affect Vermonters' finances, health, and safety. OPR is responsible for supporting the regulatory programs for 50 professions and occupations, everything from accountants and acupuncturists to tattooists and veterinarians. Within these 50 professions and occupations, there are 167 different profession types and almost 80,000 licenses. OPR oversees professions where public protection is achieved through a system of licensure and enforcement. Its job is to protect the public by regulating professions which may have impact on the public's health and safety, and elevate the practitioners within any regulated group by removing incompetent, unethical, and dishonest actors. To accomplish this, OPR provides 3 distinct services: administration services, including initial licensure and renewal, public meetings and regulation, and statutory reform; enforcement services, including investigation and prosecutor staff necessary to receive complaints from the public and protect the public from incompetent, unethical, or otherwise unprofessional licensees in the regulated professions; and 3, tribunal services that act in a quasi-judicial capacity for unprofessional conduct or pre-denial of applicants. I mention these because all these aspects of OPR will figure both in this bill and another one that's coming up later this week. OPR is headed by a director who oversees a staff of 39 people, including licensing specialists, administrators, an assistant director, a general counsel, and staff attorneys, case managers, investigators, inspectors, and prosecutors. This bill has 3 primary purposes. It ensures that laws and regulations enable licensees or registrants to practice in a manner consistent with their training and education without placing artificial barriers to real-world practice. It clarifies or modifies existing practices within professions or OPR operationally. And 3, it emphasizes and delivers on OPR's public protection mission by improving the regulation of a sport. Madam President, may I speak to the Senate Government Operations Amendment and to the underlying bill?
You may.
Thank you. Some of these changes are minor housekeeping matters and others are more substantive and comprehensive. So here we go. Section 1. As part of a planned consolidation of licensure across state agencies, this transfers licensure of well drillers from the Agency of Natural Resources to OPR. And we change the director of OPR from an exempt position to a classified position, bringing the directorship into alignment with the other directors in the Secretary of State's office. This move clarifies that this is not a political job. 2, Section 2. This allows for the director to evaluate the Vermont Department of Labor's apprenticeships for qualifications for state licensure. It aligns our background checks for all licensure with the federal requirements. Section 3 requires personal attestations by an applicant in all licensure categories, and the rest of this section is housekeeping and clarification of the role of legal counsel at OPR. We have 2 legal counsel. Section 4, this adds a standard of unprofessional conduct for all professions. Section 5, this enhances public protection for patients using chain pharmacies. It clarifies that if there is unprofessional conduct in one of the chain's pharmacies, OPR can, after due process, impose discipline on the entire chain in Vermont. Section 6 is housekeeping. It updates language to reflect current practice around acupuncture. Section 7 clarifies who can microblade. I know you've been worried about this. Tattoo, microblading, in case you didn't know, is tattooing permanent eyebrows. A tattooist is responsible for this now and not a cosmetologist. Section 8, in an effort to help us address a critical shortage of nursing home administrators, this allows for remote supervision on nursing home administrators in training. Sections 9 through 12 are the statutory move I referred to earlier about the well drillers. These are the statutory move of profession of well drillers from the ANR statutes to the OPR statutes in Chapter 26. There are no substantive changes to the program. It simply changes who administers the license. Section 13. This transfers the appeals process for licensing and disciplinary matters for educators from the Agency of Education to OPR. All matters begin in AOE. However, if a decision is appealed, it comes to OPR because OPR, as I referred to earlier, has tribunal services that act in a quasi-judicial capacity for unprofessional conduct. Section 14 asks that AOE and OPR continue to review the opportunities for licensure streamlining, particularly in areas of discipline and enforcement for educators, and that they report back to the committees of jurisdiction by December 15th of this year. Thanks. Sections 15 to 17, this is Senate Government Operations major amendment to H-289, and it creates the appropriate infrastructure for mixed martial arts, a sport OPR had underregulated. This issue came to light because of the July 2020 MMA fight in Rutland, which many of you read about, which was unregulated and unlicensed and in violation of our state emergency orders. MMA, for those of you who are new to it, I was new to it, is defined as unarmed combat involving the use of a combination of techniques, including grappling, kicking, and striking from different disciplines of martial arts. Mixed martial arts includes kickboxing, pankration. Some of you may or may not know what that is. I have a definition if you want it. Pankration, Muay Thai, and extreme martial arts. Mixed martial arts does not include boxing. Because this sport is potentially dangerous, it remaining underregulated poses significant threats to participants' health. OPR is recommending that Vermont add it to our group of regulated sports, boxing and motor vehicle racing. It's regulated in every state around us. These sections create additional infrastructure to license and regulate mixed martial arts in Vermont, hopefully guaranteeing that it is practiced safely and with appropriate oversight. This bill requires that promoters be licensed and insured, that medical exams take place before and after each match, that a referee be present at any MMA event, and that medical assistants be present at every event with an ambulance at the ready. There is no impact on the amateurs aspect of this sport because these sections only regulate events where there is a prize for the fighters and an entrance fee is charged, which is taxed accordingly. The fees cover the cost of regulating this sport, and they are, for the promoter license, $500 for the initial fee, $500 for the biennial fee. A contestant's fee license is $25 initially and $25 for the annual renewal. The participant's license is $25 for the initial and $25 for the renewal, and for an event license, $250. This is a stark example of how regulation can protect the public. Section 18 is a housekeeping section and clarifies the legislative intent of the Uniform Licensure Act of 2020. Section 19, if you work for a home health agency, you can continue to use the Vermont emergency provisions in Act 6 of 2021, which goes until March of 2022. You have to be licensed either in another state or inactive in Vermont for 3 years or less. And in Section 20, Senate Government Operations heard from the Justice Center at the Council of State Governments, which recommended that we further reduce barriers to licensure for people who have criminal backgrounds. It clarifies that when a person discloses a criminal conviction or is convicted of a crime while licensed, the appropriate board or hearing officer at OPR will consider the following as they determine whether or not, whether to deny, discipline, approve, or renew a license, certification, or registration to a person based on these factors: the nature and seriousness of the conviction, the amount of time since the crime was committed, the relationship of the crime to the profession, and evidence of rehabilitation or treatment. It's a way to codify existing practice in OPR, and it clarifies for people what process will be followed by OPR. Section 21 is the effective dates. Everything takes effect upon passage, and we would ask for your support on this important bill.
Thank you, Senator. The senator from Addison, Senator Hardy, is recognized for the report of the Committee on Finance.
Thank you, Madam President. The Committee on Finance reviewed the fees in the bill as outlined by the reporter of the bill. The fees for well drillers and the transfer from the Agency of Natural Resources to the Office of Professional Regulation actually is a slight decrease in the fees to bring them in line with similar professions regulated by the office. And then the fees for mixed martial arts, which are based on the fees for boxing. The committee found that these had a minimal effect on the revenues of the state and were fine with the fees. We also recommended an amendment to the bill that was recommended to us by the Office of Legislative Counsel, striking some language in the subchapter related to boxing. There are a few citations related to mixed martial arts and kickboxing, and these were found after the Senate Government Operations Committee had finished its work with the bill. So we are recommending an amendment to just remove these to be consistent with the new subchapter related to mixed martial arts. The Senate Finance Committee voted 7-0-0, and we ask for your support. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator. The senator from Essex Orleans, Senator Starr, is recognized for the report of the Committee on Appropriations.
Thank you, Madam President. We had the reporter of the bill in our committee, went through the bill, and found that it will have no effect on the revenues of the state general fund. Any fees that are raised will cover any additional costs. And that we recommend that the bill ought to pass in concurrence with the proposals of amendment as recommended by the Committee on Government Operations as well as Finance. And our committee vote was 7-0-0.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the report of the Committee on Government Operations be amended as recommended by the Committee on Finance? Are you ready for the question? The senator from Windsor is recognized.
Madam President, may I interrogate the presenter of the bill?
May.
I'm wondering with regard to the definition of mixed martial arts, I just want to be assured that this does not include many of the children's programs that we know of in terms of karate, taekwondo, and various other programs. Are they explicitly excluded?
They are not included in this bill, no.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute. And again, the question is, shall the report of the Committee on Government Operations be amended as recommended by the Committee on Finance? All those in favor, please unmute and say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've amended the report of the Committee on Government Operations as recommended by the Committee on Finance. The question now is, shall the Senate propose to the House to amend the bill as recommended by the Committee on Government Operations as amended? The senator from Bennington is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to compliment the Committee on Government Operations, particularly with relating to Section 20, which will help people who have been convicted of crimes to overcome some of the barriers that they face as they try to reenter society and get licensed in various professions. We heard in Senate Judiciary a lot of testimony about this. This can only help people moving forward, particularly those who have been out and not been in trouble for years, but are denied the ability to work in a profession that's regulated because of that criminal background. So I compliment the committee. I'm glad to see that that was added to the bill and wholeheartedly support that. Thank you.
Thank you. Are you ready for the question? The senator from Addison is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. May I inquire of the reporter of the bill?
You may.
Thank you, Madam President. So I, like probably most senators, get questions from people in the regulated community about the cost of the fees. And I just wanted to confirm an understanding I have from my time on GovOps that these fees are set basically simply to cover costs like other fees that government agencies and departments use. Is that correct?
Thank you for the question. They are indeed, and they are actually set by the boards or board of advisors that oversee these professions, sort of by the people in the profession themselves. And as you heard from the reporter from Finance, sometimes they go up, sometimes they go down, depending on the costs incurred by that profession. So yes, the fees are all go to the cost of regulating it and no more.
Thank you very much.
The question is, shall the Senate propose to the House to amend the bill as recommended by the Committee on Government Operations as amended? Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you propose to the House to amend the bill as recommended by the Committee on Government Operations as amended. The question now is, shall the bill be read for the third time? Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've ordered third reading of H 289. We have on the calendar today S3, an act relating to competency to stand trial and insanity as a defense. The House has proposed to the Senate to amend the bill as set forth on page 2380 of today's calendar. And just to note that the underlying question is, shall the Senate concur with the House proposal of amendment on S3? Senator from Bennington, Senator Sears, is recognized for the report.
Thank you, Madam President. I first want to compliment the other body for their work on this bill. They made many improvements to the bill, and your Judiciary Committee, in consultation with the Health and Welfare Committee, is recommending that the vast majority of the bill be concurred with one concur with further proposal amendment in one section. The bill, as you know, deals with the competency to stand trial and insanity as a defense. And I want to reemphasize that this is a very small number of of folks with significant mental illness that end up involved in the criminal justice system. Again, very small number, but many of them are extremely dangerous, and how we deal with them as a state is the subject of S3. S3 contains a number of provisions related to court proceedings, This year, the House made several changes to the Senate bill, and the Committee on Judiciary and Health and Welfare are recommending that the state accept most of those changes. I'd like to cover briefly some of those changes. In Section 1, which deals with psychiatric examinations that must occur when a question of the defendant's sanity or competency has been raised, Subdivision C1 clarifies the examination will be conducted either one by a psychiatrist or if the person's incompetency or insanity is the result of mental illness, or two by a psychiatrist or a psychologist if the current person's competency or insanity is the result of a developmental disability. The reference to a psychologist was added by the House because another provisional law requires that a psychologist experienced in treatment of developmental disabilities participate in the evaluation of the person's mental health status as a result of developmental disability. This subdivision also requires that a copy of the examination report be provided to the commissioners of mental health and Dale. The House added Dale because that person could be committed to that agency's custody rather than Department of Mental Health. Subdivision C2 addresses those cases where issues regarding both the defendant's sanity and the defendant's competency have been raised, and a psychiatrist or psychologist conducting the examination has been asked to provide an opinion as to each one. Unless the defendant requests the examinations occur concurrently, the ability of the defendant to make this request was added by the House, the request to have both insanity and competency raised at the same time, based upon model language established by the American Bar Association. Section 2 concerns the court proceeding that existing law requires after a defendant has been found to be either insane at the time of the offense or incompetent to stand trial. After such a finding, Madam President, the court holds a hearing to determine whether the person is a danger to self or others. If that person is a danger, he or she must be committed to the Department of Mental Health for treatment or to the Department of Aging and Independent Living if the person's incompetency or insanity is a result of a developmental disability. The House added the Department of Aging and Independent Living as they did it earlier. Section 2 provides that a defendant is entitled to have counsel appointed by Vermont Legal Aid, and a defendant who would prefer to be represented by a private attorney can still choose to do so. Section 2 also provides that the Department of Mental Health, and if applicable, the Department of Aging and Independent Living, are entitled to appear at the proceeding and call witnesses. Section 3 is pretty much as it was presented in the Senate version of the bill. The House, the one major change is, as it passed the Senate, S3 included a separate notice provision that applied when a committed person is in the community on an order of non-hospitalization. In the Senate version, if the person was not complying with the order, or if the treatment has not been adequate to meet the person's need, the commission was to provide notice about the situation to the court that made the commitment and to the state's attorney of the county where the prosecution originated, or the attorney general if that office prosecuted the case. The House moved this provision to the study being conducted by the Forensic Working Group, so there will be a report on it next year. And part of the reason that we would agree to move this section is we're not sure how we would deal with folks who are having problems in the community and what could be done. So that's part of that study, and you'll see that later on in the report. The Section 4 had no changes on the part of the House, by the House. that permits the prosecution to ask the court to permit its own psychiatrist to examine the defendant when the court-ordered examiner has found the defendant incompetent to stand trial. Section 5 requires the Department of Corrections and Mental Health to jointly submit to the General Assembly an inventory and evaluation of those mental health services provided by the entity that the Department of Corrections contracts with for healthcare services. Specifically, the departments are required to compare how the type, frequency, and timeliness of mental health services provided in corrections differ from those services that may be available in the community. The House added elements to the evaluation requiring a comparison as to how the type, frequency, and timeliness of mental health services differ among Vermont correctional settings. Also, an assessment as to how the use of a for-profit entity with whom the Department of Corrections contracts for healthcare services affects costs and quality of care in a correctional setting. An assessment as to whether the Department of Health should provide oversight authority for mental health services provided by the entity with whom the Department of Corrections contracts for healthcare services, and information how a memorandum of understanding is executed between the Departments of Corrections and Mental Health. The House also added language requiring the departments in conducting the evaluation to ensure that social and racial equity issues are considered, including issues related to transgender and gender non-conforming persons. The results of that evaluation are due by November 1st of this year, and your Senate Judiciary Committee, in consultation with the Health Care Committee, supports the changes to Section 5. Sections 6 and 7 are where we would concur with further proposal amendment, and I'll describe that shortly. Section 8 is a new section that appropriates $530,000 to the Department of Mental Health to contract with the Vermont Legal Aid for the purpose of providing legal representation in commitment proceedings. The original bill, as it passed the Senate Judiciary Committee, contained $500,000. That was taken out by your Appropriations Committee, and the House has restored that $500,000. The Senate Appropriations took it out. The House has restored that $500,000 and added $30,000 to the Department of Health for the working group that's described in Section 6. This section we are proposing to concur with further proposal of amendment. And I'll try to cover that briefly, Madam President, but this is a forensic working group. We see this as a critical area for study by these groups so that Vermont can join most states in having ways to deal with this small forensic population. We actually made few changes to the House-passed version of this study that was originally in the Senate bill. In the working group membership, the House had added several members. We agree with adding those members. For example, 3 crime victims rather than 2, and 3 individuals with lived experience of mental illness versus 1 in our original version. The House version deleted a representative from the Department of Buildings and General Services. This proposal of concurrence would reinstate that member from the Department of Buildings and General Services. The House recommended having a preliminary report due on 1/15/22 and a final report due on 9/15/22 to address any gaps in the current mental health and criminal justice system. Your proposal from the judiciary in consultation with the Health and Welfare Committee would have a preliminary report due, only one preliminary report, and that would be due on January 15th, 2022, and a final report due on August 1st, 2022, that would look at any gaps in the current mental health, criminal justice system structure related to individuals incompetent to stand trial who are adjudicated not guilty by reason of insanity. In remaining sections, Madam President, of this section, we agree with the House, except moved the competency restoration models to a separate section. So basically agreeing with the other body, except for deleting the second preliminary report and having only one report. There's a section that we are offering, new subsection D, competency restoration models. Department of Mental Health is to submit a report to the General Assembly comparing competency restoration models and addressing how cases where competency has not been restored are handled. Finally, Madam President, your Judiciary Committee agreed with the guiding principles that were adopted in the other body for this study. And regarding experts, same as the other body, and draft legislation is similar. It's the same as the other body. We deleted Section 7, the Joint Legislative Justice Oversight Committee, in our proposal of concurring. The House had added one member to the Joint Legislative Justice Oversight Committee from the the Health Care Committee in the House, and had recommended an additional one senator at large. Your two committees felt strongly that adding members to justice oversight at this point would not be wise. And so we have deleted that piece. Other than that, Madam President, we strongly urge the Senate to concur with the further proposal amendment on S3 and have this important bill get to the governor as soon as possible. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the Senate concur with the House proposal of amendment with further proposal of amendment as proposed by the Senator from Bennington? Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've concurred with the House proposal of amendment with a further proposal of amendment as proposed by the Senator from Bennington. This completes the orders of the day. The Senator from Windham is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. At this time, I ask that the rules be suspended and that we message our actions on H431, an act relating to miscellaneous energy subjects, to the House forthwith.
The Senator from Windham has moved that the rules be suspended and H431 be moved to the House forthwith. Again, H431, an act relating to miscellaneous energy subjects. Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've suspended the rules and messaged H431 to the House forthwith. The Senator from Windham is recognized.
Madam President, at this time, I ask that the rules be suspended and that the Senate takes H289, an act relating to professions and occupations regulated by the Office of Professional Regulation, move it through all stages of passage.
The Senator from Windham has moved that the rules be suspended and H289 be placed in all remaining stages of passage. Are you ready for the question? First, the question is, shall the rules be suspended and shall H289 be placed in all remaining stages of passage? Kindly unmute. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you suspended the rules and placed H289 in all remaining stages of passage. We have on the calendar H289 relating to professions and professions and occupations regulated by the Office of Professional Regulation. Third reading was just ordered. Are there any amendments before third reading? Please listen to the third reading of H289.
H289, an act relating to professions and occupations regulated by the Office of Professional Regulation.
The question is, shall the bill pass in concurrence? Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've passed H 289 in concurrence. The senator from Windham is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. At this time, I ask that the rules be suspended and that S3, an act relating to competency to stand trial and insanity as a defense, be messaged to the House forthwith.
The senator from Windham has moved that the rules be suspended and S3, an act relating to competency to stand trial and insanity as a defense, be messaged to the House forthwith. Are you ready for the question? All those in favor, please unmute and signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you suspended the rules and messaged S3 to the House forthwith.
What's how we did?
You did second, third, and message.
Okay, thank you.
The senator from Windham is recognized.
Madam President, at this time, I ask that the rules be suspended and we message our action on H 289, the OPR bill.
The senator from Windham has moved that the rules be suspended and H 289, an act relating to professions and occupations regulated by the Office of Professional Regulation, be messaged to the House forthwith. Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you suspended the rules and messaged H 289 to the House forthwith. The senator from Windham is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. At this time, I ask that we take up confirmations for those who, senators who are following along in the calendar. They're on page 2427. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator. We will now move to confirmations, again on the calendar, starting at the bottom of page 2427. This is the appointment of Margaret Chaney of Norwich as a member of the Public Utility Commission. The question is, shall the Senate confirm the appointment of Margaret Chaney as a member of the Public Utility Commission? The senator from Addison, Senator Hardy, is recognized for the report of the Committee on Finance.
Thank you, Madam President. Margaret Chaney is being considered for reappointment to her second term to the Public Utility Commission. The Public Utility Commission is a 3-member quasi-judicial board that supervises the rates, quality of service, and overall financial management of Vermont's utility, including electric, natural gas, telecommunications, and private water companies. Ms. Chaney was first appointed to the Vermont Public Utility Commission in 2013 by Governor P. Shumway. As some of you likely remember, prior to joining the commission, she served 7 years in the Vermont legislature, where she was vice chair of the House Natural Resources and Energy Committee. As a leader of the committee, person and vocal legislative advocate for renewable energy projects. While she is no longer in advocacy role, Ms. Chaney believes that strong regulatory oversight of utilities is important for the continued advancement of renewable energy policies and projects. She is currently a member of the National Association of Regulatory Utility Commissioners Committee on the Energy Resources and the Committee on the Energy Resources and the Environment. Ms. Chaney began her career as a newspaper reporter and editor in Menlo Park, California, before becoming the managing editor of the Washingtonian magazine, Washington, D.C. In Vermont, she taught Spanish and energy courses at Sharon Academy while continuing her journalism work as a freelance writer in publications such as the Washington Post, the Washingtonian, the Foreign Service Journal, and the Arcadia Press. Before her election in 2006, Ms. Chaney served 9 years as chair of the Norwich School Board and Interstate Dresden School Board. She also served on the boards of the Vermont Center for Eco Studies, Vermont Institute of Natural Science, the Montpelier Museum, Norwich Historical Society, and Children and Family Services. The daughter of a Foreign Service officer, Ms. Chaney grew up and was educated in Malaysia, the Netherlands, Nicaragua, India, and Peru. She received her BA from Harvard University. She has 3 children and lives in Norwich with her husband, Peter Welch. Your Finance Committee voted 7-0-0 to recommend confirmation of Ms. Chaney to the Public Utility Commission, and we ask the Senate to do the same. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the Senate confirm the appointment of Margaret Chaney as a member of the Public Utility Commission? Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've confirmed the appointment of Margaret Chaney as a member of the Public Utility Commission. This is the appointment of Daniel M. French of Manchester Center, to be specific, as the Secretary of the Agency of Education. The question is, shall the Senate confirm the appointment of Daniel M. French as Secretary of the Agency of Education? The Senator from Bennington, Senator Campion, is recognized for the report of the Committee on Education.
Thank you, Madam President. It's my pleasure to put Dr. French's name forward for endorsement by the Senate to continue as our Secretary of Education. Secretary French has navigated our schools, our school children, our teachers and staff in an incredibly successful way through COVID. And I'm so pleased that he's interested and committed to continuing this important work. Secretary French has served in a number of capacities in the world of education over the years prior to becoming our Secretary of Education. He served as a superintendent of schools for Essex North Supervisory Union. He served as a principal in the Canaan schools. He served as superintendent of schools in the Bennington Rutland Supervisory Union in Sunderland. Additionally, he was the school leadership graduate program coordinator at St. Michael's College. And then in 2018, he was appointed Secretary of Education. Dr. French has a bachelor's degree in political science from the University of Connecticut, a master's degree in education from Plymouth State University, and a doctorate in educational leadership and policy studies from the University of Vermont. I want to thank Dr. French, Secretary French, again publicly for his commitment and his dedication and his management skills over this past year. It has been, as I mentioned in my initial comments, incredibly important work, and he has navigated this work and this crisis very successfully. And I speak certainly for our committee in expressing our gratitude. Our committee vote was unanimous. Madam President, given that this is the appointment of the Secretary, and given Secretary French's work over the past year, I would like us to take a roll call vote in this nomination. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator. The Senator from Bennington has requested a roll call vote. Again, the question is, shall the Senate confirm the appointment of Daniel M. French as Secretary of the Agency of Education? Are you ready for the question? Senators are kindly asked to unmute, and the Secretary, when ready, is kindly asked to call the roll.
Senator Ballant.
Yes.
Senator Baruch.
Yes.
Senator Benning.
Yes.
Senator Bray.
Yes.
Senator Brock.
Yes.
Senator Campion.
Yes.
Senator Chittenden.
Aye.
Senator Clarkson.
Yes.
Senator Collmore.
Yes.
Senator Cummings.
Yes.
Senator Hardy.
Yes.
Senator Hooker.
Yeah.
Senator Ingalls.
Yes.
Senator Kitchell.
Yes.
Senator Lyons.
Yes.
Senator McDonald.
Yes.
Senator Mazza.
Yes.
Senator McCormack.
Yes.
Senator Nitka.
Yes.
Senator Parent.
Yes.
Senator Pearson.
Yes.
Senator Perschlick.
Yes.
Senator Polina.
Yes.
Senator Ron,
Yes.
Senator Sears,
Yes.
Senator Sirotkin, Senator Starr,
Yes.
Senator Terenzini,
Yes.
Senator Westman,
Yes.
Senator White,
Yes.
Senator McDonald and all senators are kindly reminded that when voting, both video and audio need to be on. I think we're missing, there we go, thank you.
Senator McDonald,
Yes.
Please listen to the results of your vote. The yeas 30, the nays 0, and you've confirmed the appointment of Daniel M. French as Secretary of the Agency of Education. This is the appointment of Peter Walk of Montpelier as Commissioner of the Department of Environmental Conservation. The question is, shall the Senate confirm the appointment of Peter Walk as Commissioner of the Department of Environmental Conservation? The senator from Bennington, Senator Campion, is recognized for the report of the Committee on Natural Resources and Energy.
Thank you, Madam President. It's a pleasure to put Peter Walk's name forward for confirmation as the Commissioner of the Department of Environmental Conservation. Prior to coming to this work, Mr. Walk served as the Assistant Secretary for the Environment in the Governor's Office in the state of New York under Governor Cuomo. He served as Chief of Staff for the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. He then came back to Vermont, to his home state, where he served as the Deputy Secretary for the Agency of Natural Resources until being appointed in February 2020 to his current position as our Commissioner of Environmental Conservation. Mr. Walk has a bachelor's degree from Williams College and in political science. He has a master's degree from the University of Colorado at Colorado Springs in applied geography. I can speak very personally to Mr. Walk's incredible work as it relates to PFOA in my community. Mr. Walk has been there every step of the way since being handed the reins to oversee bringing our community or making our community whole after being contaminated with PFOA in the drinking water. He and his team have been at the other end of emails, phone calls. They have been ever present in our community as we have navigated this very difficult time. And I, for one, am immensely grateful to Mr. Walk and look forward to continuing our work together. Our committee vote was unanimous, 6-0-0, and we hope the full Senate will confirm Peter W. Walk as Commissioner of the Department of Environmental Conservation. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the Senate confirm the appointment of Peter Walk as Commissioner of the Department of Environmental Conservation? Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've confirmed the appointment of Peter Walk as Commissioner of the Department of Environmental Conservation.
Senator White.
The senator from Windham, Senator White, is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. I move to suspend the rules to take up and confirm as a group and without debate those nominations as listed on page 2428 of today's calendar. And just so that everyone is aware, 2 of these names would normally not be eligible for confirmation until tomorrow, as this is the first day they have appeared on the calendar. But without objection, I would include them in this motion for confirmation today.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you. The senator from Windham has moved that the rules be suspended and the individuals listed on pages 2428 to 2429 be confirmed by the Senate. Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've suspended the rules and confirmed the appointments listed on pages 2428 to 2429 of today's calendar. The senator from Wyndham is recognized.
Madam President, pending announcements, I move that the Senate stand in adjournment until 1 p.m. Wednesday, May 19th.
The senator from Wyndham has moved that, subject to any announcements, the Senate do adjourn until 1 p.m. today, Wednesday, May 19th. Are there any announcements? Senator from Wyndham is recognized. I do see. The senior senator from Caledonia is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. I was going to announce that Senate Appropriations would meet at 1 p.m., but I'm having to change the time because we have a bill that we have to get out. So I'm going to ask committee members to meet at 12:45, please.
Thank you, Senator. And the senator from Bennington is recognized.
Thanks, Madam President. Senate Education will meet at the fall of the gavel after this afternoon's session. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. And the senator from Chittenden is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Senate Economic Development will meet at the fall of the gavel immediately following.
Thank you. Are there any additional announcements? The senator from Wyndham is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. By way of announcement, if senators could look at the emails that will be going out from the Senate Secretary's office. This afternoon at 1, we anticipate taking up S13, which is a House proposal of amendment on the pupil weighting report, and H360, which is the Committee of Conference report from the broadband bill. So Secretary Bloomer will be sending out the documents for you to be able to look at. And I just wanted to give notice to those folks who would have to be presenting on that. So S13 and H360. Also, by way of announcement, I've been in close contact with the minority leader as it relates to rule suspensions. And it will be important over the next couple of days to make sure we are communicating well with the minority leader. I believe that we have been, and I just want to make sure that we do not lose our protocol and procedure and good relations within the chamber, making sure communication lines are open. Some bills I think will move without any controversy related to rule suspensions. Others are certainly more complicated and more complex and may not be able to get a rule suspension. So I just appreciate your attention to this, and we'll see you at 1.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator. The senator from Bennington is recognized.
Madam President, may I inquire of the pro tem?
You may.
Thanks, Madam President. S13, can you just clarify where that is right now? I know the House voted it out yesterday. I suspect they've put it in all stages of passage. Unless I missed it, it's not on the notice calendar. So can you just, a little more clarification, since our committee has not yet voted on that bill?
It's pending entry on the calendar for notice.
So your intention, you would like our committee to gather before our 1 o'clock time?
If that is possible, not hospital. If that is possible, Senator, thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. If I may continue, Madam President, Senate Education will meet at 12:45 to take up
the House proposal
13 for what hopefully will be a final vote to advance that bill. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Are there any additional announcements? The senator from Wyndham is recognized.
Madam President, I've heard from the Senate Secretary that S13 is on the Senate overview page, but the Senate Secretary will also be sending that out to all senators in about 10 minutes.
Senator. The senator from Wyndham has moved that the Senate adjourn until Wednesday at 1 p.m. That's this afternoon at 1 p.m. Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The The ayes have it, and the Senate stands adjourned until 1 p.m. Wednesday.